Hello and welcome to the daily newscast within the United Countries special by First Ukraine. You can find us at the frequencies available at our website first2a.com. Taras Chechko is working for you in the studio. Thank you for joining us. Soldiers rotation in front of TV cameras. Ukrainian channels filmed the process of how cyborgs were replaced in the Donetsk Airport. One can see on these shots that the men get there through a checkpoint of militants. Previously, only Russian journalists managed to see this. Now, Ukrainian TV reporters looked at how terrorists examine Ukrainian soldiers and what they allow them to carry.
Ukrainian soldiers make forced rotation in Donetsk Airport. Near the airport on bridge, soldiers are checked by militants. Representative of General Headquarters Petro Kanonik explains the conditions of Ukrainian soldiers passing. According to conditions of militants, it is allowed to take through provisions, personals, warm clothing, 1 unit of personal weapon, 1 magazine case, and under 90 bullets. Products: grease, canned food. Have a look, not weapon. Because at the moment we have agreements, tomorrow there will be another. There will be the order that the ceasefire is ended and we will do other things. We'll carry out the orders and we will do it, whether we want it or not. We have a commander-in-chief, agreeably, we have a commandment according to which we do it all. It is the route to the new terminal where positions of Ukrainian soldiers. Unload all this shipping, guys. Zero. The ceasefire doesn't exist. It was only when the OSCE is somewhere not far or some medias. There were a lot of representatives from our side, so everything had happened very quiet. As a result, we had brought 50 people and had taken away 49 people. This is it. Forced rotation was conducted according to plan. ATO spokesperson Andrei Lysenko explains why terrorists check Ukrainian soldiers. Here we have provocation element, and it surprises why it happened without rich escort. If it is Donetsk Airport would be captured by terrorists. Some agreements providing of this rotation, absence of firing. Thanks God there were not handshakes. We cannot explain this. We have no such information.
Two ATO soldiers were freed from the captivity by the priest. He held the negotiations with the leaders of terrorists personally. Now people from all over Ukraine refer to Father Serhiy for help. He says he is trying to liberate everyone who people asked for.
Father Serhiy is preparing to service. He is a provincial of the Temple of God soldier in the Kiev-Pechersk Lavra, and now he is one of the negotiators of the terrorists on the release of prisoners of war. First of all, friends and mothers asked to me. My work came down to register and to ask whether there is a such guy in the list of prisoners. The price says that I jumped in negotiations on the release of prisoners in Snizhny. These boys were under the control all time. We were thinking how they could be deliberated. At the end, the volunteers phoned and said go to take them and try to do it. Father Serhiy says that he doesn't know how the militants could be deliberated. That's why I got into a car and went to Donetsk. Nobody don't want to give back because there is an exchange of prisoners and any deliverance. So we had to address to so-called Minister of Defense, as he called in DNR, with this request, and took us half an hour. In the end, we came together that we will give 2, and then the rest will go to exchange of prisoners of war. On these frames, Father Serhiy was released militants and their relatives after returning from Donetsk. He says that he asked the terrorists to release 7 prisoners, but was managed to return 2 of them. The negotiations about deliverance of others are still ongoing. Victoria Plastun, Vadim Timofeyev, Alexander Prozorov, First Ukraine.
The Ukrainian army has new armaments and soldiers have learned how to fight. That's why the situation in the Donbass shall change for the better. So was said by President Petro Poroshenko in Manyava, that is in Ivano-Frankivsk Oblast. There, the president visited the family of Mykola Lozyak, his reserve sergeant who has been in the Donbass since May. Near Amvrosivka, he had his both legs wounded. Now Mykola is recovering and wants to return to the army. Poroshenko said he was proud of these soldiers.
Army for me and for all Ukraine is the first priority. Ukraine had paid too high price for it. But today Ukraine is absolutely another united, strong, powerful. But anyway, now I am a spiritual man, assured that Christmas will bring us the peace and wisdom and victory, and everything is gonna be all right.
Vehicles of so-called humanitarian convoy from Russia, being the 11th one, reached Donetsk and Luhansk. The press service of the Emergency Situations Ministry of Russia informs about the arrival of trucks. The 2 columns, each one including 62 trucks, crossed the Russian-Ukrainian border checkpoints called Donetsk and Matviev Kurgan in the morning. The press service of the Russian Emergency Situations Ministry said that the humanitarian convoy delivered food, medicines and building materials. Ukrainian soldiers, Ukrainian border guards did not check the goods.
Taking into account the representatives of International Red Cross Committee did not participate in replacing of the shipment, so Ukrainian special unit realized visual observation to the shipment moving through the state border without execution of its functions.
Let me recall, the first humanitarian convoy to the Donbass was sent by Russia in August. In all the cases, trucks were crossing the border at those areas not controlled by Ukraine. The National Security and Defense Council has continuously reported that militants rather sell than distribute products from the convoys, and on the way back, trucks carried the equipment of Ukrainian companies located in the occupied territories. 500 million euros from Germany. Kiev has reached an agreement with Berlin on loan for 20 years. The document was signed by Minister of Economy of Ukraine, Aivaras Abramovičius, and State Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Economics, Matthias Machnik. The money will be forwarded for the restoration of the Donbass, Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk said. He was signing along with Vice Chancellor and Minister of Economy of Germany, Zygmunt Gabriel.
Money will be directed to rebuilding of Ukrainian infrastructure, bridges, schools, social objects, railways, hospitals. And now, on the level of our 2 ministries, there will be all procedures concerning who will get all these credits under 20 years. It is real help from Chancellor of Germany, which were announced 2 months ago, and now we are ready to realize it.
The Ukrainian delegation arrived in Berlin for 2 days at the invitation of German Chancellor Angela Merkel. A few months ago, she offered Kiev financial assistance and today met Ukrainian Prime Minister. Tomorrow they will negotiate about the reforms, international support and bilateral cooperation, the press service of the Ukrainian government explained. And today Yatsenyuk met with Federal President Joachim Gauck as well. Besides Ukrainians, Christmas, according to the Julian calendar, was celebrated by religious persons of Jerusalem, Russian, Georgian, Serbian churches and ancient Eastern churches. In the Holy Land, the main worship was in Bethlehem, in the Church of the Nativity. In the Balkans on Christmas Eve, bonfires were burned, in which, according to the legend, all last year's misfortunes had burned. And on the same day, Catholics celebrated the Epiphany, or Three Kings Day, who came to greet the newborn Jesus. It was the United Country newscast by First Ukraine. You can find more details at our website, firsttoday.com. Taras Chechko was working for you in the studio. We wish you only good news. Take care and goodbye.